diagram and see where you go from there. So page 30, if you have that out, be good to go with it. Use the following to answer the question about how a surveyed group of students travel to school. So 24 cycle, walk, cycle, or drive. 13 walk, 12 cycle, 10 drive. Then you have your ands here. Those are the intersections between two at a time. Draw a Venn diagram to represent the situation. How many use only one form of travel? How many use all three forms? So this one is basically saying that 24 students that we're talking about are in at least one of the sets. That's what this one is saying, okay? No outliers, basically. So the 24 we are considering would all be somewhere on a Venn diagram. So I'm going to start with my three sets. So basically, U is 24. And let's, I want to also always review notation. So in this case, walk or cycle or drive, right? Like the union of all of those is 24. That's what it's saying there as well. And unless they would have given us some sort of universal prior to this, we are just assuming all 24 are somewhere in a set and therefore no outliers. So we have walk, cycle, and drive. Those are our three sets at play. When it just plainly tells you how many walk, it means that number outside, okay, not inside yet. 12 cycle, 10 drive. So you fill that in. And here you have to be careful, 6 walk and cycle. So what is that? This is basically N of W and C, right, is 6. N of cycle and drive is equal to 4. Walk and drive is equal to 2. Okay, so notation is still important. So W and C is right here. So that intersection there is 6. The intersection between C and D is 4. What you want to be looking for, especially after today's lesson, is it just saying and? Or is it saying and but not something else? If it's just and, we are literally referring to like the 4 applies to this section right here, where these two sets intersect. The 6 is talking about this entire section here. So you can tell that there are two subsections in this intersection. So it's basically saying this number and that number combined give you 6. This number and that number combined 4. Okay, so don't be too quick to put that 4 in here, for example, because then you'll be off. Then the last one, this one here is 2. And some of you said, yeah, I was getting a negative or a 0. That's probably a hint that go back. Maybe you miscalculated or you made an assumption that wasn't true. Okay, so here we go. What else are we given? Nothing else, right? That's it. I'm just scanning, making sure. And I agree that sometimes these questions are not necessarily in order, like in the order that you should be solving them in. So I would always say, try to solve your Venn diagram before you answer questions. Just go for it. So in this case, this is unknown to me here. This is the intersection of all three. And if you use that formula, pi using 3 sets, it is really 24 in this case. Universal minus outliers, that's 24. And then we just go around and add 13 plus 12 plus 10 minus all the intersections, minus 6, minus 4, minus 2, plus the center, because you've been subtracting it all along, so you got to make sure you add the center to it. So that's 24 is equal to, if you add and subtract accordingly, you end up with 23 plus x. Minus 23 minus 23, x is equal to just 1. And I would now go back and fill things in, right? With these types of questions, as long as it's somewhere on this page, you're going to be all right. So if this is 1, then this has to be 5, right? Because we know that these two combined add up to 6. So I just went 6 minus 1 to give me 5. 4 minus 1 gives me 3. Very easy to do in this case, right? 2 minus 1 is just 1. And maybe I'll go back in your notes and talk about how to refer to these sections right here, the 5, 3, and 1. How do we refer to that using words? And then next you fill in this part. So 13, you'll just subtract these three numbers from it. So that's 6, right? 13 minus 5 minus 1 and 1. Then over here, 12 minus 6 would be 6 minus 3 would be 3. And then 10, subtract these three numbers, right, to just end up with this. So this is 5. So 10 take away these 5 would be 5 as well. And now you can go ahead and answer anything they throw at you. Okay, so for B, how many students only use one form of travel? We're talking about these numbers right here, right? This only drive, only walk, only cycle, right? That's what we're figuring out there. And I would like you to show me at least the numbers that you're picking to come up with your total, because sometimes you get 653, right? But you write down incorrectly your final answer. At least I know, okay, you know what you're doing. You just had a brain fart, right? Like that happens. That's 14. It doesn't happen to me, but it might happen to you. Aha, you're laughing, right? C, I'm just going to answer C right here. One student uses all three forms of transportation, and the work is right there, so why would I do it again? How many students, if it asks, let's continue this. If it asked you how many students use exactly two forms of transportation, two forms, it would be 5, 3, and 1. These students in these regions use exactly 2. Does that help? No outliers? But if there are outliers, please do not forget, right? You're going to go 24 minus any outliers. If they're mentioned, you take that away, because when you're using pi, you're not working with outliers. You're only working with the numbers that are in those sets when you combine them. Let's go back a little bit. I'm just gonna, if I can find my booklet, the booklet I used with you guys. 1 second. Go to page 21. And this might get ugly, so use pencil. It might get ugly. So I'm going to say maybe 1, 2, 3. Like 1, 2, and 3, what do they represent? Regions 1, 2, and 3. Only is the word. Only belong to A or B or C. Okay, so the word only is what is very important there. I'm maybe to make it easier, I'm going to say 4 here. This region right here, let's call that 4. I think it's easier to just refer to 1, and then you'll just extrapolate and just make your conclusion with the other ones. But region 4, elements in A and B only. Okay, there's that word only as well. So 4 is just that. Another way of talking about this, elements, make sure you write this down, elements in A and B, but not C. So I'm going to put bullets here, right? So you can either way, you can say, oh, because of the wording, I know it's referring to this part right here only, right? So students that only walk and drive, but not take the bus or whatever, right? So you fill in the blank. That's what this region right here represents. If you have a different highlighter, I used them all up. I'm out here. But this is the next part that I'm going to introduce to you. How does the question refer to just that? When does a number actually go in there? Okay, that's going to come later today. Fun stuff, eh? Not so much. I told you, right? I warned you. Just hang in there. It doesn't mean hands up. I just don't get this stuff. Don't just get rid of that mindset. It's like I'm gonna conquer this thing, right? To the best of my abilities. I look so happy. It must be because it's Monday. That's probably what it is. All right. So for the Venn diagram, what I want you to do is always fill in what you already know, like what you're just given, and then even when you solve for things, go back and fill it in completely, right? That's so moving forward, that's what I mean by that. If you didn't do it this time, I mean, I do ask for most of the sections anyway, so uh, it'll be okay today, but that's what I mean moving forward with the Venn diagram. So when you do fill it in, right, you have, it gives you the outlier 16, it gives you the 32 and the 24, right, and it's asking for the AND region, which if you use pi, you get 12, right? So we go universal 16 minus 16, that's this plus this minus the intersection. So if you have that, you get 2 marks for that. You would get 2 marks for your Venn diagram. You get 2 marks for figuring out the intersection. So if you forgot to take off the outliers, then obviously I would say 1 out of 2 if provided the right side is still good. So 12 people attended both. So we've got 2 for our Venn diagram. So how would I take marks away? I think if like half a mark off per mistake for sure. That's how I would approach that one. So I have done B. That's just here. C, what's this? Determine not like people that did not go to the Red River X. So this is what I would expect. Like I would just take away 24 from the universal and come up with 36 people. I didn't ask you to explain what that meant, but 36 people did not go to the Red River X. D, how many people attended only one event? So where is D? Right here. And it's really 20 and 12 added up, right? 20 and 12 That's 32 people in this case. Always show me, even when you're just adding, it's good to get half marks. Determine the union of the two and explain what it represents. So it would be 44 people. So you either add up 20, 12, and 12, or you add 32 plus 12, whatever, or you go universal minus outliers. In any case, you should get 44. And this means the people attending at least one event. That's what I wrote down. If you wrote down like more formal definition, it's the union between the two sets, not including outliers, right? And so that I would accept that too. So 1 mark for getting the 44, half a mark for, hold on. I did not give you, no, just 1 mark altogether. It's a package deal. And then F, what's this? Well, this is R only or R not M. So R not M would be the 12 here, which you get going 24 minus 12, you get that 12. So only attended Red River X. They say something like that. Only attended the Red River X, or attended Red River X, but not the Morris Stampede, whichever one you choose. So 1, 1, right? C is 1 as well. And then 2 and 2. So altogether, what do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 8 for question 1. 8 marks associated with question 1. Okay. And then create 2 sets A and B that are disjoint. I know I didn't ask you to do this. I will still do it, right? I just made up 2 sets and there's different elements in there. These would be disjoint. They don't have a single common element, right? Graph the Venn diagram, kind of look like that. If I asked you to do that, you could do rolling die, and then these are even numbers, odd numbers. You can be fancier if you want. Giving this universal 2 subsets. So set A, I just picked 1, 4, and 6. You could have picked 19, whatever, because when it's dot, 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 it means everything in between is included. And B, I just picked a number. That's also a subset. But they're disjoint. They don't have any common elements. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for squiggly brackets that use a capital letter. So a mark for that. Is it a mark on yours? Just 1 mark? Yeah. Okay, so 9 for this page. Obviously 2 is not included. So just 9. Put a 9 at the bottom of this page. And yeah. You did it as a diagram and you're stating the numbers in there. Yeah, because I didn't say, yeah. If you use a Venn diagram, you're okay, because I didn't ask you to use proper set notation, right? So you just created your sets in a Venn diagram. Sure, I'm okay with that. And the back side, question 4. This ensures that there are no outliers. The all 380 that are considered are in at least one of the following courses. You just assign letters if I don't give you any. So I give you the circles and the intersections. So you should recognize, oh, this is type 2, right? Find the middle. I know mine looks messy. Sorry, guys. Draw a Venn diagram and fill all sections as needed. So I basically jump to B. So I fill in partially, right? 215, 173, 182. The intersections, you got to make sure they're outside. And then I go ahead and find, I use pi. You do not have to write out the whole formula. But I go 380 and then I add the 3 numbers, subtract the intersections. Make sure you add the middle. And I saw a lot of 32s when I was walking around, so way to go. So 32 students use all 3 courses, or are in all 3 courses. That'd be a 2 mark scenario here. because we are not taking away outliers. I think I would have made it worth a bit more in that case. So I go back to my diagram, I fill in the 32, and then it allows me to fill in everything else. So right, 32 minus 60, that's 28. And 90 minus 32 is 58, and so forth. You fill in everything else. And of course, if you get this wrong, right? If you get this wrong, you depending on what caused it, it's like a -1, let's say. I wouldn't take off again on your Venn diagram, right? Like I'm not going to double penalize you, so it would be a -1 here, and then I would just check if these numbers jive. However, if you get a negative, I would probably take off again because that should be a sign that you have to go back. If you didn't notice that, then I would take off another mark on your Venn diagram. Okay. C, how many taking biology or physics? So that's B or P, right? These two. So it's the orange part here. So I'm just gonna add, I go 215, that's this whole thing, and then these two numbers yet on, oh yeah, 28, yeah. So 215 plus these two numbers, that's 316, however you got it. If you just added each individual section, that's fine, but 316. And of course, if you made a mistake before, that's why it's important to show me the numbers that you're adding, because I would give you a full mark here, provided you're adding the correct numbers above. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I have the wrong numbers on there, but for like B and C, we had 58 there, and I had 90 because I looked at the top and I said like biology and physics, or biology and chemistry, physics and chemistry. I just took those as the that much.
Okay, so this number is different for you.
Yeah, so that would be
that's 90.
And that would be chemistry. I did biology and chemistry from the top.
Oh, it's like it's in a different order. Is your
No, they're just different numbers. I'm just wondering.
Oh, let me look at it later. I would have to look at it. It's a bit of a pain in the, where to fix this part. So if you're not quite sure, I would say for today, just be the teacher, give yourselves a mark, whatever you think you deserve, and then I'll look at it more carefully later on. Did you get 32, Nick?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so then I'm guessing it's just something went wrong while subtracting. We'll see. I'll look at it. Again, I will say this one more time. If you have different numbers here, I will look at what did you add up to come up with this. And it could be that some of you are rebels, right? You're gonna go biology, physics, chemistry, and then this whole thing is different. That's not a problem at all, right? Like you decide what you want to do. So it's supposed to be 316, but obviously if you have a different number, but it's consistent with your diagram, I usually go like this, and then I go step. That tells you that I know you're doing this correctly. It's just obviously you have a different number. You have different numbers here. D, what is it asking for? How many students are taking physics and chemistry, but not biology? So physics and chemistry, but not biology is actually the 28 here. I alluded to that today. It's the 28 right here. So that's a mark as well. Question? Are the numbers off? Okay, sorry. So this one is worth 7 altogether. I didn't ask you to do 5, right? I crossed it. I'm just gonna, I just basically like what's wrong with it. Not arranged, right? This one is not arranged. Also not arranged. And this one has repeat elements, right? The 2 P's, you can't have that. Is a V a subset of K? And it's like, no, not all elements in V are also. Actually, you would have to argue none of them are. Right? They're not even joined. Never mind subset. Right? Identify a pair of joint sets from the ones given above. So it'd be, did I say K and V? Oh yeah, there is an overlap right here, the 4. So actually K and V are joint, but they're not subsets of it, right? Like it's not that they're a subset, but they are joint because of the 4. Okay, they share one element, which is 4. Okay, so what are 7 and 9, right? So out of 16, so just cross over the 24 on the front, cross over that, and then submit it